and welcome to the Kickoff, the rugby league show covering all things rugby league in Bundaberg and the Wide Bay area. Joining me at the guest tonight is my co-host Bryce Holsworth.
Thanks, Dean. Thanks for having me again.
And our first guest is Celine Collins from the Northern Districts, the Northern District Secretary, I believe.
I am, yes.
So before we get on to football matters, there's just a little thing that's happened in Wide Bay ITV. The cricket show that's been on before has won a Media and Technology Award awarded by Australian Cricket for their for the cricket show. So congratulations to Rhys Grills and David Bogue and all the crew at the Wide Bay TV. And just to acknowledge the award they received of wearing David Bogue's jacket that he left in the wardrobe. Cheers, David. So, Celine.
Yes.
Northern Districts.
Northern Districts.
How did you get involved?
About 2 years ago, I began as a level 1 sports trainer for Avondale Tigers. And from there, I've built some really great relationships with all the teams and assisted them with first aiding. This year, I was called out upon by Kim, and we had a really nice conversation about what it could look like for Northern Districts this year with me stepping into the secretary role.
Yeah. Very
green, but I'm loving every minute of it, and I'm being very well supported by some amazing people. So you've got Neil and you've got Woz, so loving the role, but it's very different to what I'm used to.
So it's keeping you busy?
It is keeping me very busy on top of working full time, but no, I absolutely love being a part of NDRL and seeing the teams that I was once involved in with first aiding really kind of shine, so it's great. And
do you see yourself continuing in this role?
I want to say yes, but you know, I do have my family and we'll see how things go, but I don't want to ever see the competition put on hold. So at the moment I'll do what I can to help all the community come together. So
I think Bryce has a question for you.
Well, I was just going to say Celine was sort of earmarked by Kim when Northern Districts were having a bit of a trouble getting the committee, so well done on putting your hand up to help out the Northern Districts. They were in some desperate need of someone to help out, and I do hope you continue because you're doing a great job. Up and coming, a few emails obviously for me around the Indigenous All-Stars that the NDRL put on every year. So
yeah, absolutely. We're working really hard for dates and times for that, but as always, like it is every year, it's going to be a fantastic game and it always brings an incredible crowd and it always brings the community together. So I'm really excited to be a part of that this year as well. And
obviously Evolution Mining again back on board this year
we've got some incredible sponsors this year. I'm wearing last year's jersey from them, from the All-Stars. So no, we're really excited to obviously work with them and work with all the ladies and gentlemen in the community to get that up and running. So it'll be really exciting. Stay tuned for dates.
They do put in a bit of effort at Evolution Mining and some good funding to help run that. So any inside information on a venue this year or TBC?
Yeah, well, to be confirmed. We are working hard in the background, but Neil and Warren and everyone else is really coming together, I guess, day by day. I'm still working my way in there and I'm like, oh, what's happening? Keeping my nose in there, making sure I'm a part of it. But it will be, I think it'll hit social media quite hard once all of that's come together. And I think it'll be really exciting for the community.
That's good. It's a great turnout out at the All-Stars. Gingin have hosted it the last 2 years and I've been to both of them. And they just get bigger and better. It was a bit chilly last year though, a bit compared to the first time I went out there.
But it was a little bit, wasn't it?
But it's a good occasion and for a well-worthy cause. So
absolutely.
So speaking of Neil, he's going on his travels soon.
He is.
Has he got you a diary and lists of things to keep up on?
The wonderful Neil is getting me very well prepared for his travels. I missed a meeting with him today so I could come here and have a chat with you lads. But yes, he is probably one of the best mentors you could have. He is a wealth of knowledge. So with him and Warren Bray, obviously, I am in great hands when it comes to navigating everything. And then Bryce and Kim have also been amazing from the QRL's perspective as well.
So we've had Neil on it twice.
Yes.
We might be looking at Warren next to see.
Oh, I think so.
Big Woz will be good on the show.
Big Woz will be great to have on the show.
So that's about what's happening up there. So at the weekend, I know you didn't see all the games.
I didn't get a chance to see all the games,
What
no.
you did see was the women's tag competition.
Yep, and I got to see majority of the first men's game.
Okay.
So, yeah, incredible.
So the women's tag team, how did that go?
Yeah, so Agnes' team, the Marlins, are doing absolutely incredible in the competition this year. They versed Avondale.
Yep, 42-4 was the score.
It was 42-4. That was a big score difference. But honestly, Avondale are working really hard. They've got pretty much a whole new team together this year. And Marlins are just working incredibly well on the field. The second game was Gingin and Isis. And Gingin is coming in strong. I think it was 20-4.
20-4, yeah.
Yeah, so they're also doing incredibly well as usual. It's great the Women League tag has come so far since it first began, and I think it's amazing to see 4 different teams. I know that last year it was 2 Tigers teams as well as the Gingin, but I think it's coming a long way from what it was. And I think with Isis and, correct me if I'm wrong, the Marlins have a lot of really young players that are coming on board, which is incredible to see. So,
just on the Isis joining the ladies comp, I know the last few years it's been a 2-team or 3-team competition.
It has,
How's the community of the Northern Districts reacted to having that 4th women's league tag team in there? And
the women have reacted amazingly. I think it's really good and really healthy for the Women's League tag to have that additional team come in and be a part of the competition, because when you are versing, when there's only 3 teams in the comp, it can make it incredibly hard. But I haven't heard really any negativity from the players at all. It's obviously a huge change and a huge challenge for all the clubs when another club comes in, but everyone so far has been acting and going well about it.
Beneficial for the clubs that are hosting now too, being that they have 2 league tag games, women's league tag games, and then two A-grade games as well. So
and I think it's shown at the games that even the crowd is slowly increasing. It used to, from my experience in the time I've been a part of it, you do see a lot more supporters come in for those men's game, but you are seeing more of an increase in the women's league tag, which is really nice to see.
Great to see the Isis ladies too following their hubbies and partners around.
Yes,
a lot of them have
absolutely.
transitioned over from the tackle version of the game to the league tag.
I saw a bit of the footage last week, and I thought I saw is it Clarissa Priyanko having a run out.
I've seen her name on their list there somewhere at some stage. So there's a few.
Few that have played the actual rugby in the in the
there is a
competition.
few. I think over all women's league tag. A lot of the I've had a lot of girls come up to me with regards to starting out in league tag and then actually venturing out into tackle football, and it's amazing to see the confidence in, especially the young girls. You know, some of those young players have gone from never playing a sport to now being heavily involved at school and heavily involved in community activities, not just around the football, but you see a huge confidence boost in that younger generation.
I think
as well.
a lot of the older ones have come back to the league tag because they wake up the next day not so much battered and bruised like they used to be.
You know, when I was a first aider, I was struggling going out in the field. So props to them all that are running out there, especially when, you know, you are low on numbers and you don't have those subs available to you. Some of those women and men's team are doing an incredible job having to play that full-length game.
I think I've mentioned before on the show that, you know, the league tag is a game for mums, daughters, aunties, sisters to have a run together as a family and enjoy being active and playing, you know, rugby league. So
and you do.
It's great to see.
Absolutely, it is great to see, and you see, you know, friendships form, and it's incredible. Like I said, a lot of the younger girls you're seeing as young as, you know, 13 and a half coming out and doing a run, and the skill set on them at that young age is incredible. They're very fast.
I think they watch the footy and then go out and practice with
Yeah.
each other. Let's see if we can do this move. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's covered the ladies.
Yes.
Was the game you saw the ISIS and Miriam Vale, or the one out? Was that the
No,
first game?
I did see number 3, game 3, so ISIS versus Miriam Vale,
Yeah.
and it was 50-16, I think it was.
50-16, yes, it was.
Yeah, it was
So-
an ISIS, the men's team for ISIS have come in hard, and, you know, they're making, I guess you'd call it their debut back from not being on the field for so long, and it's incredible to see them out and running. It's definitely, I guess, added a flair into the competition, and the club itself has been great, and the grounds are amazing. So, yeah, it's been really good to see.
Yeah. We always used to say you always get a warm welcome at the
Yes.
furnace.
Yeah, I think they've got
Absolutely.
a home game this weekend, don't they?
I
in
believe so,
Chile?
yes,
so,
that's correct, on the 20th.
I
Yeah.
was talking to Simon Riccardi the other day. Actually, he said they would have had about 1,000 people out at their
Wow.
first home game. So
It was
I'm sure it's
packed,
going to be
yeah.
Bigger.
a full house again this
Yeah.
weekend. But again, great to see ISIS back playing rugby league, and they're certainly making a mark out in that Northern Districts competition. So.
Well, yeah. Some of them players have been little gypsies travelling around the other clubs, waiting for the opportunity to go
Yeah.
back and play. For
Yeah,
ISIS.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
It's great for them.
It is,
So,
it's been great.
I'm not too sure. South Calande has beaten Gingin 28-12.
Yep.
Couple of try scorers in there. Andrew Mason still
Maso's
going
running around out there.
and Phil Lindsay. He's on the try
He's come
scoring.
in from
Yeah.
Bundy and
Yeah.
playing for Northern Districts. Yeah. So.
I think, watching some of the results at South Callan, they're probably one of the teams to, take ISIS. ISIS have obviously made a pretty
big impact.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
made a mark in the competition. But I think the last time that South Callan and ISIS played was quite close.
It was the first game of the round.
So I
was it?
think looking at the South Callan side, they still look pretty strong. I think they were played in the grand final, so losing grand finalists last year to a strong Miriam Vale side. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm not sure who ISIS are playing this weekend. Whether it is South Callan, it'll be a great game to sort of set that tone for the rest of the season. Obviously, the first game with ISIS and South Callan was ISIS probably finding their feet again. So
Absolutely, and you can see a massive, boost in the confidence of the lads that are running out onto the field. It's been really great to see that come together. I was very happy to be a part of the first game out at their home ground, so it was really good.
Very good.
Yeah.
So, coach, NRL development officer.
Ian Keaton, he's got them primed and ready to go by the look. So, I'm not sure what the future plans are. They did have a bit of a plan, hopefully, for the future. Obviously, they've got some good numbers out there. So, whether they get a second side somewhere at some stage, but it's great to see them back in the competition or in a competition, and the town's really buzzing. I believe. That they're back in, so it's really good for that little community, especially their juniors now. They've got somewhere, I think this week they've got juniors going from 8 o'clock right through to seniors, so it's a big day out there this weekend. So good luck to them all. Yeah, the furnace will be buzzing.
Yeah. It will be.
Yes, it'll be going off. Yes, wonderful times out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Always a tough crowd.
Yeah.
Like going to Estelle Park.
It's football, isn't it? That's what you play for.
It's probably one of
you go watch for. The atmospheres.
There was a love-to-hate relationship when I used to play. I loved going there for the crowd, but I hated it at the same time because of the crowd. So it was always a tough game.
Absolutely.
So.
Right then, so we've covered all things rugby league and your role in the running of the competition. So we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back after the break with more rugby league news and views from the Bundaberg and White Bay area.
There's one name across our region that's synonymous with all things hospitality, Rum City Foods. And with more than 50 staff and 4,500 square metres under one roof, Rum City Foods stocks everything. They've got the lot. Paul's Milk, frozen products, packaged foods, dairy, bakery, drinks, chemicals, and all the hospitality packaging you need. Rum City Foods are a proud member of Countrywide Australasia. Find them at rumcityfoods.com.au or at their massive new premises on Commercial Street, Bundaberg.
See Tagglemans, your family-owned caravanning experts, for the popular New Age caravan range. Walkinshaw designed and engineered for superior strength and reliability. Start your adventures today with a New Age caravan from Dale and the team at Tacklebands to Calvin Street, Bundaberg.
Welcome back to the kickoff, and I'd just like to thank Celine, who's just left us, and welcome our next guest. Joining me and Bryce at the table is Danny Blair. Welcome, Danny.
Thank you.
Good to
Thanks for
have you
having me.
Hello, Danny.
Hello, Ross.
How are you, mate?
Good, thank you.
It's good.
So, development officer for the Dolphins in
Yes.
Wide Bay. Yes. How's that going?
It's going good. It's going great, actually. You know, we've hit the ground running. Yeah, there's probably not enough hours in the day at the moment to try and service everyone. But everyone's been very responsive to having the Dolphins in the area, and yeah, like I said, we're getting out to schools, getting out to clubs, you know, just getting involved, seeing where we can help out as much as we can.
So you've just left a couple of games tonight.
Yes, schoolboys and schoolgirls games.
Yeah.
So for the schoolgirls, we have the Dolphins Cup there. So, you know, just trying to, you know, get the girls game up and running within the Bundaberg and Wide Bay area.
And coming up, we have a game with Dolphins and the Bulldogs.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
both hanging around the area. And you got any plans for that game? You've been involved?
So obviously we'll be involved in some capacity there. It is a Bulldogs home game, so I'm pretty sure they'll have the lead on a lot of things there. But with the Dolphins being in the town, I'm sure we'll have some things up and running as well.
Yeah. So Wayne will be on that, will he not?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, he's a sly old operator, is Wayne.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, like I said, you know, it's part of the Bulldogs agreement. So I think it's their second year of that agreement, and we're fortunate enough to, you know, as a new team in the NRL, that, you know, the NRL's put us against the Bulldogs for that game, and you know, with our involvement in Bundaberg and Wide Bay, it's a good opportunity for us to showcase our stuff as well.
So you're involved in the schools. How's school rugby league going at this spot?
This year, I think it's been rejuvenated. You know, there's a lot of girls out there playing rugby league, and a lot of boys back playing rugby league as well. I think I've been to a lot of the Bundaberg and Wide Bay trials, and especially the Bundaberg trials. I think they were saying that, you know, in all their age groups, they've had more people trialling this year than they have in the past. So that's a good sign for rugby league.
So you were involved with the Wide Bay Bulls?
Yes. Like I said, I was just here to help out wherever I can, and you know, there was an opportunity there for me to assist. So yeah, it was great to be involved.
Mm-hmm. So what's the plans for the future in Bundaberg regarding the Dolphins? They're going to hang around?
Well, look. You know, I can't speak on behalf of too many NRL clubs, but I've been a part of a lot of systems, and the Dolphins have really made a commitment to Wide Bay. Like, I actually live in Wide Bay. I live in Bundaberg now, and you know, a lot of NRL clubs say they service places, and it might just be, you know, they come in for a day or two here and there, and then they ship back to where they are. Whereas the Dolphins, NRL have made that commitment to Wide Bay. They've actually placed me here, and you know, obviously the Wave Sports Club was a large part of that, going into partnership with the Dolphins. So that allows me to be here on the ground on a day-to-day basis to help out.
Danny, you old Wide Bay boy, as you said, the opportunity to come back and work for the game. Like, what was the decision around that? Like, obviously, you know, the Dolphins work for an NRL club is, what does it mean to you? And, you know,
oh look, just that opportunity. You know, like a lot of people, I've spent 15, 20 years volunteering in the game of rugby league. So, you know, when these opportunities present themselves, you know, you kind of have to weigh it up and They don't really come around that often. So when it was there, obviously I had to talk to the wife and that. But you know, it ended up being a no-brainer. Get to come back to where I grew up, and I played all my footy, my junior and start of senior footy, and to give back to the area that I grew up in was a really positive thing. And look, it's yes, it is my job, but you know, like I said, 15, 20 years of volunteering, I'd still be trying to give back to the game in some capacity. So yeah, I jumped at it.
Very good. So obviously I have a little bit to do with you here every now and then, but
Yes.
As the Dolphins and the NRL team development officer, what are the priority areas, or what are the focus points for the Dolphins, and how are they, you know, assisting with the development within the Wide Bay, the schools, the clubs?
Yep. Yeah, so obviously the main objective is to get kids back into playing sport and rugby league. You know, so when I go to a school, it's there. It's what does the school want? Like, if they want me to go and just run some clinics, I'll go there and run some clinics. If they'd like me to go and work with their school rugby league team, I'll go to their lunchtime sessions or their afternoon sessions and help out there. The same with the clubs. You know, my job isn't to go over and take over things. It's there to see where I can help out and fit in with those sides and work in with those players and coaches and clubs and schools where they see fit.
So a lot of stuff with the kids. We're working on coach development, things like that as well as part of your planning. And how often do you hold coach sort of education days, or you know, do you go to clubs and try and educate coaches while you're there? Or
yeah, definitely. Like, one is helping players develop. That's a big thing. And two is obviously helping coaches become the best coach that they can be. You know, a lot of times coaches are mums and dads who put their hands up to help out because there's no one else to do it. And, you know, once they do their course, sometimes that's the only interaction they have or assistance that they have. So, you know, that's where I can come in and help them out, provide them some guidance, maybe put them in the right direction to get some further information, to assist them develop themselves as coaches as well.
Oh, that's good. The ladies' game, you spoke about the schoolgirls and trying to recruit the numbers. Are they transitioning over into clubland at the moment, or are we pushing them that way? What's the plan there?
I think very good question, Bryce. Look, I think it's the ladies' game or the girls' game is one of those things that it has been around for a bit, but now it's such a large part of rugby league. And just trying to tap into that to try and get the girls to stay in club, you know, or transition from school to club. That's always going to be a battle, but hopefully there's some things that we've been working on that may assist in that in the future. Yeah. But it's always something that we can build on.
Yeah, I think club-wise, over the last few years, there was a few people not very receptive to the girls' game and didn't push it like they should have done. We had a large opportunity to push forward, and it just fell away through, I would say, lack of support. But now there's a lot more people around the Bundaberg area that are keen to get all this stuff off the ground.
Yep.
And there's some good people pushing the game forward.
Oh, exactly right, and that's probably been the best thing since coming back and working within the game, is seeing, you know, there is a lot of positivity around the game within the area, and there's a real drive to increase the standards of and the pathways within Wide Bay Rugby League, and obviously with Bryce and the QRL helping push that as well. It's I think that's a really good positive for the area and something we can build on.
Very good. So that's just about covered what you're doing in the area.
Yep.
We're going to talk about a few of the games that's happened this weekend. And,
okay.
We have some footage of Wondai Wolves versus Cherbourg Hornets. come on, we can talk as this is playing. But I did watch that game, and there was some real good players out in that South Burnett area.
Okay. Yep.
Probably for the one day, the two halfbacks stood out for me.
Okay. Yep.
I've been looking all over to try and find the names, but I couldn't find them. And the Hornets, their fullback was a standout on the field as well. 38-18 was the score, and it was a bit close at half time, and Hornets got a man in the fullback in the bin.
Oh, right, yeah, yes, yep.
They scored. It was 2-1 tries in that 10-minute period,
yep.
And that was just before half time. And then Hornets got a try, or they kicked out on the full from the kickoff. So and then one dice went on from there.
Yep.
So that was that game, and then there was the Kingaroy Red Ants versus the Murgon Mustangs. Bit of a runaway for the Red Ants there.
Yeah.
Didn't see all the game, just a couple of little highlights that we have, and 64-24. So this.
Yep.
Some talent out in the South Burnett.
Oh, definitely.
And another the 5/8 for Kingaroy. He was on fire as well in that 10-minute period that I saw. He set up a couple and scored a couple himself.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what's happened in the South Burnett, and then we're moving on to the Central Burnett. We don't have any footage from that area, but Gayndah defeated Eidsvold 44-30. It's a pretty high-scoring game, and Eidsvold there were ahead at 2018 at half-time, but Gayndah have come back with 5 tries, and Eidsvold could only get 1 in the second half. Another game was Mundubra and Monto. Mundubra ran away 54-18.
Okay.
So you heard anything over these, Bryce? Or?
Yeah, I think our Monto Rees was struggling for numbers there.
Yeah.
But you know, the blokes that they had there turned up. I think there's only 10 players or something. So and a young team. Just I'm not sure what the factors were in them not being able to put a team on the field.
They said they only had 10 players and most of them were under 19. So.
You know, good effort by those young blokes to get out and still have a run. And you know, 54-18, 13 on 10 is probably you know, still quite a respectable score for a lot of blokes. As the V-man saying, most of them are under 19. So that's still that's a young team that's obviously shown a bit of heart and. You know, for their club and put in an effort for them. So that's great to see out that way.
Yep.
Old Gayndah and Eidsvold. It was a tough clash. I watched a bit of the footage back this week for a couple of reasons, but no, there was some good entertaining football played, and I think is it Tom Jamison that we talked about playing for ISIS was back at Gayndah, had a great game, couple of big hits from both sides, but you know, Gayndah, I think, you know, they're a classy side. Eidsvold, I think, had Shawnee Collins there this week as well. So, you know, some quality players playing out there this weekend. So, it's a cracking game for, you know, Gayndah to come back there, it says, with 5 tries. So, you know, we spoke about it last time I was on. You know, Gayndah have got some really good players out there. Eidsvold, I think Cameron might have mentioned it in a previous episode that I'm not sure how consistent their team is with players. I know that they do have a few blokes that sort of drive in, drive out for work and things like that. So it's not always the same 17 or 18 on the field at the same time. So good effort there. Some bit of high scoring, but nothing more entertaining than some meat pies and a couple of beers on the sidelines.
Exactly.
So they're away. They're on to travelling to Eidsvold this time. But Mundubra seemed to struggle with the early games. Which probably are the backpackers and what have you. So they're if they can't get away, they may struggle next week. So the main game next week is Eidsvold and Monto kick off at 3:00. So we'll look forward to see what.
Again, good to see Eidsvold hosting some rugby league. So massive boost for that town and area. And similar to, you know, we talked about the Women's League tag, having that extra team there this year, but so good to see another team in the Central Burnett comp. So they were struggling for a bit, it was getting a bit stale. Another team's just added that little bit more interest and a little bit more spark to the competition. So, you know, hopefully we can keep that 14 comp going out there for the future, or whatever else happens. You just never know these days. Yeah. So,
you know something with
no,
it?
nothing at all.
I got a scoop out of there.
No scoops.
No scoops.
No, I just know it's tough out there, and you know, we've got a few comps that are really close, and you know, at some point the game probably does need to start looking at how they're managed and where they're played. I'm not saying anything remote to say that we are. These teams are going here and there and everywhere, but you know, we're getting really good numbers in participation. The volunteer base isn't following the participation numbers, so it is a struggle, and it's particularly these smaller region areas with, you know, they run off less volunteers out in those areas than some of the bigger areas do. But you know, again, we want to see everyone playing rugby league and
in their own areas.
And you know, until something drastic happens, that won't change. But you never say no to some sort of cross-region competition where we could have a few areas playing, you know, just for something different, different games, different teams playing each other, like a pre-season comp or a post-season comp, something like that. So Super Series with all the grand finalists, something like that.
Oh, look.
So that'll be good.
That's the outer regions covered. We're into Bundaberg, and the first forfeit of the season, Harvey Bay. Yes,
poor old Harvey Bay at the moment. Struggled to get some numbers for reserve and A grade. I went down there last night actually and had a bit of a chat with the committee. So they, you know, and some of the players, they've got some things that they're putting in place to make sure that they can see out the season. They got a lot of injuries down there at the moment, which is, you know, once you get a few injuries, like 5 or 6, 7 injuries, particularly to their A grade team, that's always going to be a struggle to fill it with a few blokes that out of reserve grade. I mean, not saying that they're not capable, but I know that they were sort of struggling a little bit with reserve grade at the start of the year, and a few of the older fellas have come back to help them out, and you know, those blokes don't really want to play A grade. They sort of come back to have a run with their mates. So, you know, hopefully we can help keep them on the field. They're celebrating their 50th year this year, the old Seagulls. So, we're working on it as a QRL, and myself and Mike Ireland went down there last night, the BRL chair, and you know, had a good meeting, and you know, they've committed to playing this weekend in A grade and whatnot. So
that's good.
We'll see where they go from there.
So
but
they've got some talent in that squad that they've got. And I've said it on past shows that the only thing they're lacking is a leader on the field, really, somebody to take charge and tell them where to go, what to do, because they just try all the time.
There's one name across our region that's synonymous with all things hospitality, Rum City Foods. And with more than 50 staff and 4,500 square metres under one roof, Rum City Foods stocks everything. They've got the lot. Paul's Milk, frozen products, packaged foods, dairy, bakery, drinks, chemicals, and all the hospitality packaging you need. Rum City Foods are a proud member of Countrywide Australasia. Find them at rumcityfoods.com.au or at their massive new premises on Commercial Street, Bundaberg.
Trip to Maryborough didn't work out well for East.
Wallaroos.
It was pretty
3 in a row.
It's
42-30. So
I was-
Wallaroos beat East Magpies 42-30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I can distinctly remember a conversation about never write off Wallaroos, and they've strung 3 wins in a row together.
Yep.
It seems to be that trip, isn't
and
it?
they've toppled, you know, some teams that were considered premiership contenders.
Yep.
I think they beat East. I think they might have beat West. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Did they, or
Yeah,
was
I
it
think
across
they
the
did,
Waves? They beat the first. It was close, but
Close,
anyway, they've strung a couple of wins together. I think they moved into about 3rd or 4th now on the ladder. So, never underestimate the Roos.
Yeah. So I didn't see any of the games this weekend because it was my dear wife's 65th birthday party. So happy birthday, Carolyn! Her actual birthday's today. So we had a few beverages during the day and
nice.
and celebrated her birthday. So Wests versus Across the Waves. We had a little bit of footage of the Wests Across the Waves game. 10-22. So 10 the Panthers, 22 to the Waves. I've not had any drama, any info on that, and having missed out on the games, I'll have to check up on that. But Waves are sitting pretty. They'll be in second place behind.
I think it was a good win.
Brothers.
Like,
West have they come out in the first 10-20 minutes always firing, and I think Corey Tanner's said he had a style that he liked to play, and I think it's hard and fast and straight, and that's what it looks like so far this year. And they've been putting that effort in, and not always getting the bounce of the ball. So when they fire, they're going to be a force. The Panthers.
They will be. I think you know the Waves last week played Brothers, and there was a bit of a score put on, but I think they were missing some of their key players through Magic Round or whatnot. So I don't think that was a true indication of how close and far the two teams are. So, you know, for the Waves to defensively for the most of the season, but that one game they've been pretty good. So
especially when they had to put the captain at 5'8". And he's probably one of the best props in the competition.
Yeah, that's true.
That's telling you something, isn't it? When
So Reece Morn there. So he did a good job in that position, but that's not his.
No.
But
that's not where he should be.
It's a bit of a restructure to the team, isn't it? You know, once you've got, like, Reece is a good ball playing front rower and slotted in there like nicely, but when you've got your starting halves and you sort of take them out, it restructures, it reshuffles the side. You play a lot different to what you probably normally would, and they've obviously got a bit of a plan with the guys that they've got in there at the moment. So I think, you know, coming back, looking at the score with the Western Waves game, that's probably a closer indication of where the Waves are actually at in this competition. And and again, as you said, West always strong. So I'm sure they'll bounce back after that.
Yeah. So their reserve grade put the first defeat on Across the Waves in reserve grade.
Yeah.
32-8. That's a fair score.
Yeah, not sure what's going on there. Waves have, they've been looking pretty good in the last couple. I've done a couple of lines for their games as a touchy, so both teams have looked pretty good. But that was a surprise. Didn't get to do a line this week. I strained a calf, so. Doing the juniors.
They're too fast for you.
Too quick for me. Breakaway try, and that was me done. Reggie's it's good up and down. Well, the close games are good, but I'm not fit enough to be running up and down when it's big scores. So, but the Panthers, they must have got a few new players in or something, or they've just clicked all of a sudden, because that's a good score there against an undefeated Waves Reggie side. So
both reserves sides have reversed their A grades results with with East getting up on the on Wallaroos.
No, the East have got a handy Reggie side as well. So I haven't seen the Roos reserve grade side, but I've probably done the last 2 Reggie's games as a touchy, and East have played in both of them, and they, young Jackson Paulson. I think his name is a half, mate. He's quite a handy player, so they've got some good good players in that east side.
Yeah. So on to under 18s, and we've got Brothers defeated Harvey Bay 52-0. So they're some of their 18s would have got injured probably playing up and helping out A grade, so they're a bit behind.
Harvey Bay, yeah, they've got some good players in that squad. They've got a few of the Bulls players. So again, I was down there last night and watching them play. They got some good numbers at training, so they all look happy. So it just maybe an off weekend for them. Yeah,
they usually have a good side down in the Harvey Bay.
Yeah,
and West's 38-10 against across the waves. So a good weekend for West's 18s this week against the Waves.
A couple of players in that Harvey Bay side you would have seen in the Bulls program, mate.
Yeah, look, I watched those games over the weekend. I've watched nearly all the games so far this season, and like I know the score was 52-0 in that game, but the Harvey Bay didn't give up. They turned up every time, every tackle. You probably have to give it to Brothers. They were very well drilled and they executed their plays really well. So I think that's a credit to them. The Western Waves game, like they just won it up the middle. West made some really good line breaks up the middle, and then just with Waves on the back foot, just capitalised on that. So I'm not sure whether Waves are a bit underdone for numbers in that game, but West did play very well.
That's good.
Be good to see the South Burnett 18s have a hit out this weekend. They've got they've got quite a good side running around in that 18s team. So
they played Brothers at South Burnett in round one, was it? And that was a pretty tight game, wasn't it? One right at the death, I think.
Just got over them, I think.
Yeah. So they're playing them this weekend at Bundy. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's going to be a very entertaining game. I'll definitely be looking forward to watching that.
There's one name across our region that's synonymous with all things hospitality, Rum City Foods. And with more than 50 staff and 4,500 square metres under one roof, Rum City Foods stocks everything. They've got the lot. Paul's Milk, frozen products, packaged foods, dairy, bakery, drinks, chemicals, and all the hospitality packaging you need. Rum City Foods are a proud member of Countrywide Australasia. Find them at rumcityfoods.com.au or at their massive new premises on Commercial Street, Bundaberg.
Who can you call upon when interest rates are rising or if your fixed rate is ending? The Refinanciers from Aussie. We'll make your home loan work harder. Let's talk.
So, right then, that's all the local games covered. Just want to touch on one thing that we missed last week, that because the coach, Corey Tanner, of the 47th Battalion team had work, so he couldn't come in and talk about it. But Bryce, you were at the games.
I was.
How did the Bears go?
No, look, the Bundy side, they won their first game against Central Highlands quite convincingly. So sort of moved into the next stage, and then I don't know, unfortunately, they met a tough Rocky side, and I watched majority of that game. It was really tight for probably 15, 20 minutes, and then Rocky put a few tries on and sort of run away with the game. Rocky were the last year's grand final, so it was a grand final rematch, which was a Bundy Rocky, so a bit of a grudge match there, but it was tight for the majority of the game, and they really dug in, the boys, and gave it a good crack, but Rocky just a bit too strong that game. Then they played the Sunny Coast, and I didn't get to see that one, but I was actually calling the game on field one, so I'm hopeless at that, let me tell you. So they played the Sunny Coast, and I think they lost by a try, or 4 points or something, but I think with about 2 minutes to go, they were leading 22 18 or something like that, and ended up losing 24-22 or 26-20, something. It was close. So the boys dug in and had a go, and
they always give a good account of themselves when they go into that.
Yeah, it's a hard slog travelling. Emerald 6 hours away from here, so bit of a bus trip out there, and played 3 tough games of footy over the weekend, and bus trip home. I'm sure the bus trip home.
It's a tough competition.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure the bus trip home was enjoyable. But we had another team throughout from our Wide Bay region in it, which is the Burnett Brahmins, and the boys, again, they pulled the tough draw. They I think they played. They might have played Rocky first, and they ended up going into the plate final against got the old. Southwest Stockman, which is the Roma team, boys from out west there, which is, as you know, Dean, I lived out there for a bit, so a bit of sentimental touch there, but it was great to see both teams having a go at each other. But the boys, the Brahman boys were fortunate enough to get the win and win the plate final there.
Nice.
So I think they've been in that plate final for the last couple of years and missed out on the chocolates. I think Southwest might have beaten them last year actually. So they
got a bit of revenge.
They did. They actually, So they got the lollies this time. So a couple of blokes really stood up out that competition, and he'll love the shout out to Conan the Barbarian Holding, as he wanted me to call him through the call. So he had a great game and a great carnival for the Burnett Brahmins, and he played in that Wandai game. So on the weekend. So he's a tough forward. He had a great, and Drew Jackson, old stalwart, from out that way, and he was again stood up, led from the front. So I think it might be George Fisher, could be talking about from Sherburgh, was outstanding. Got player of the plate final. So I think scored 3 tries and kicked a few goals. So they were real good. Had the opportunity to select or help select the Central Crows women's side, which is going to be playing next weekend at the Frank Fisher Memorial Carnival. So that's happening in Chinchilla. So that was a good weekend. Sunny Coast Toowoomba took out the men's against Rocky. So it was a tussle. Really, I think Rocky were up 10-8 at half time, and Toowoomba just come out in the second half. I think the final score was about 28-10. So. And then the Sunny Coast and Rocky girls played in the final, the ladies, and it was a close game as well. And I should shout out, I said we had another team. We had another 2 teams. We had our Wide Bay Open Women's ladies play up there as well. So they had a tough encounter first game against Central Highlands. I think they were just getting rid of the rust. But then the second 2 games, they played Sunny Coast and Rocky, and they really gelled and only went down, they should hold their heads up, because they only went down by, I think, 4 and 2 points in both those games. So they were real competitive in those 2 other games. It's just unfortunate they struggled in that first one. So it's always a good carnival, and Rocky and Toowoomba particularly love that carnival, and it's great to see that they put such a good emphasis on winning that. It still means a lot to that area of winning that 47 battalion. So I think they might even have had a pre-season at some stage. They were serious. They wanted that trophy back. So well done to them. They played some great footy. So the wrap on that.
Very good. So before we go, something we missed from the first part, there's something a bit special happening in Gingin this weekend.
There is, we forgot to mention the All Abilities program that's happening within the region. So it was a QRL program of the year, a winner last year for the ladies and the Walk With Me Foundation. So Sonia and her crew out there put this All Abilities program together, and they've got their first come and try on Sunday at the Gingin Showgrounds. I believe the NRL game development team is looking after that. So anyone wanting to, take your child out there in a nice safe environment, non-contact skills, fun games, 11 till 1 out at Gingin Showgrounds on Sunday. So
excellent.
I think their program, they have another one of those the following week or 2 weeks later, and then they're going to play some league tag or some games for for the next few weeks. So it'd be great to get out there.
I've heard that they could be playing before the Dolphins Bulldogs game.
Mate, it possibly could be.
That was
the
a
whisper.
mention. That was a mention from the director last week from the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. So a little pathway for
Yeah.
those players this weekend to be able to
Yep.
shine out.
Oh, it'd be great.
shine
Yeah,
on
it'd
the
be
big
great
stage.
opportunity. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That will be good for them.
Anyway, that's all the news that we have for you this week. We'll be back next week with the kickoff. So thank you, Danny, for joining us on the
Thank
programme.
you. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you, Bryce, for
Thanks, Danny.
boss.
coming back and
No worries, Dean. Thanks for
co-hosting
having me,
in
mate.
the,
Always a pleasure.
in the stand-in for Plathy.
And surely that's not Bogey's jacket. I reckon I've seen that in your cupboard.
No, it was in the it was in the wardrobe. Tell him, Bogey. Tell him. Yeah. I think you borrowed it once.
Yeah, probably have.
Yeah.
Sure, I've seen Placky run around in that one.
Placky be running around.
Good night, and we'll see you next week.